questions into the end, and then we'll, have a few minutes at the end. Because I'm going to do the video now, it'll just flow through, and hopefully that's the plan. And I'm getting out of the way.
Thank you, Gary, and thank you very much for coming out tonight. I haven't preceded Joe Arpaio on a program in quite some time, and so it makes me feel like Ed McMahon warming up the crowd for Johnny Carson. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy hearing from Joe. It's a little bit brighter, I think, on the lights. And what I'm going to do tonight, well, I am in the property tax business. I've been in the property tax business since 1975 in one capacity or another. I started off as the executive director of the State Board of Tax Appeals. Has anyone ever filed an appeal to challenge your values? Did you win?
No. 1 out of 7.
Well, I have probably participated in over 20,000 hearings with the board and representing clients and as a member of the staff on that board. So I've seen quite a few different arguments, and I have a pretty good insight on how the property tax system works. At one time, I was in charge of the property tax division of the Department of Revenue, which is responsible for valuing all the property in the state, everything from Palo Verde to a little vacant lot. And then I was also the director of the Department of Revenue. And then I served on the Board of Equalization until I got this job in 2007. And I followed David Swiker, who I understand has been district out. All right, so I see Mr. Sheriff Arpaio has arrived, and I will get on with it and get out of the way. The first thing I want to show you is in your handout, and if you look about the second page from the back, it has a number of 7 in the bottom right-hand corner, and it says assessment ratio history. Now, here's how the property tax system works. There are something like 1,500 tax districts in Maricopa County. And if you look at your tax bill, you'll find there's about 15 to 20 different districts that levy a tax on your property. So the way it works is those districts first set their budgets, their levies. Then they divide all of the taxable value in that district, say it's a school district, into that budget, and they get a tax rate. Now you can see with that formula, if the taxable value decreases, the tax rate will go up. Just a simple basic formula. Well, what Prop 117 would do, it will limit the growth of taxable value, and it will cause, in a lot of districts, the tax rates to go up. And there's been a previous limit of taxable value that you see on this slide by reducing the assessment ratio. The assessment ratio determines the taxable value of your property. If you have a $100,000 home, 10% of that is the assessment ratio. $10,000 would be taxable. If you have commercial, it would be $20,000, and vacant land, $16,000. Well, you can see how the assessment ratio has been reduced for the large properties over the years since 1979 to 2011. And that has caused a tax burden shift where the mines paid 31% of the burden in 79 and 21% in 2011, and 25 and 14, and residential went from 7.8 to 10.4. That's a 33% increase. If you look at your tax bills, 25% of that is a result of this reduction in the assessment ratio. So that's 1/4 of your tax bill comes from this reduction. Now, these reductions in assessment ratios were lobbied into place over a period of time by special interest organizations. And that's what's behind Prop 117. My feeling is if they push this assessment ratio reduction as far as they can go, now the next step is to limit values, which you will find will increase the taxes on residential property. Let's skip the next slide and go to that externals. You have your hand down. Now, what I am attempting to do is to persuade you to do some research on your own and determine for yourself how you should vote on Prop 117. I'm not here to tell you how to vote. I don't think that anyone, especially a politician, should tell you how to cast your vote. I can ask you for your vote for myself, but to tell you how to vote or encourage you to vote one way or the other, I don't think that is a good way to go about persuading voters. I feel like that as an elected official, I am obliged to advise you whenever I feel that there's something that you need to take a look at and to provide you the wherewithal to do that. So I'm going to tell you, if you go online and you Google property value limits, you will get a ton of these papers that say property value limits tend to increase taxes for residential property. Now, I'll say I won't tell you how to vote or ask you to vote one way or the other on this, but I can tell you this. I am going to vote no. And I am going to vote no because it is special interest legislation. It is going to benefit the big taxpayers, and it will, in my opinion, harm the homeowners. And if you take money away from the homeowners, and you have to pay more taxes, you have less discretionary income, and that hurts the economy. So there you have it. I'd be happy to answer questions as long as Gary.
Yes, please. We've got 4 more minutes. You've got.
So I got a letter yesterday in the mail, and I received a letter yesterday in the mail, and it had several state legislators trying to encourage me to vote yes. Why would that be?
I got a copy of that letter today, and as I said earlier, I don't think it's proper for an elected official to tell you to vote one way or the other on. That group was persuaded by special interest to put Prop 117 on the ballot. Why this special interest group wants this on the ballot, I cannot imagine, except that they have a long record, as that first slide that I had up there shows, that they benefit from these tax laws that get changed, and it favors the high value properties. And lobbying the legislature is a pretty intense bit. Now, I belong to one of the special interest groups when I was in the private sector, and I attended their meetings, weekly meetings, and some of the things they would have to say in private about the legislature wasn't too flattering as opposed to what they said to them when they were talking to them directly. But
Got it. Got it.
I think you got it. Okay, yes, sir.
I have a question. Normally when something totally incomprehensible like this appears on the ballot for us to vote on, and I mean there is no one that would understand what's going on here, we tend to vote no. So usually they write it so that if you say no, that means yes. Are you saying if we vote no on this thing, it does mean no?
No vote will kill this bill.
All right.
Just a comment to follow up on that. I received an email last week from Legislative District 27, which has a flyer out on all of the propositions with the conservative perspective of how you should vote, yes or no. And it gives you a very simple little, just a sentence or two on each one, and it becomes very clear exactly what you're saying, that we don't know about these things until we see this. But Legislative District 27 has a flyer out on it.
Well, I've seen that flyer, it's very good.
All right,